All right, so are you ready to find out if Muthoot Finance is really worth investing in?
Yeah. Let's see.
Perfect. Well, you handed us their financials and press releases and even an investor presentation.
Yep.
It's
Got that.
kind of like, you're giving a detective all the evidence in a case file.
Hmm.
So let's dive into this Indian finance giant and see if all that glitters is actually gold.
Well, what I find super interesting is they're like the king of the hill when it comes to gold loans in India.
Okay.
And I know that's not something everyone's familiar with, but think about it this way. It's like a way to get quick cash, using jewelry that you already own as collateral.
Ah, okay.
And Muthoot is just sitting on a mountain of gold.
Really?
Yeah, like
Uh,
202 tons of it.
Wow, 202 tons.
Yeah, just from people, pawning their rings and necklaces and stuff.
That's like the weight of a blue whale in gold.
It is pretty crazy.
That's incredible. So they're clearly doing something right.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, their loan assets under management, the AUM have gone up 34% year over year.
Huge growth.
That means they're lending out way more money than ever before.
That's right. And
Yeah.
that's where things start to get really interesting because, you know, is it just more lending or are they lending smartly?
Right, right.
And, a big chunk of this growth is driven by their gold loan business,
Yeah. Okay.
which really taps into something cultural in India.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, okay.
gold is seen as, super safe.
Especially when the economy is a little bit shaky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if things start to get a little rough, people aren't running to the bank.
They're pawning grandma's bangles.
It's tangible, it's
Yeah.
trusted,
Right.
But Muthoot isn't putting all their eggs in one basket.
No.
No, they're branching out,
Okay.
adding things like home loans to their menu.
Wait, so they're going from quick cash for gold to home loans?
That's the strategic part.
Okay.
Think of it this way. India has this massive population of young people.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to need homes eventually.
Yeah, true.
There's a huge housing shortage right now. So Muthoot is playing the long game. They're betting on that future demand.
So they're not just making a single dish, they're preparing a whole thali.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
platter full of options.
Diversification.
That's the name of the game.
But are these new ventures actually working out?
Well, that's where we get into those subsidiaries.
Okay.
And some are booming and others are kind of struggling.
Okay.
So, for example, Muthoot HomeFin, which is their housing arm,
Okay.
their profits have actually doubled, which is incredible.
Wow, that's got to make investors pretty happy.
Yeah, doubling profits is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, for sure. But then there's Bellstar Microfinance.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're having a bit of a tougher time.
They're facing some headwinds. Bellstar's,
Uh.
microfinance in India has been a little bit tricky lately.
Ugh.
There's too much debt, not enough oversight.
Right.
So their profits have taken a hit.
Okay.
But here's the kind of silver lining.
Okay.
They're still opening new branches, and they're using technology to keep a closer eye on the borrowers.
So they're tightening their belts and investing in new tools.
Exactly, trying to adapt.
Okay, interesting strategy.
Yeah. What I find really fascinating is how Muthoot is managing this whole mix.
Yeah.
On one hand, you have this gold loan business, which is deeply traditional, almost old school,
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, they're launching new products, they're expanding overseas, and they're even going for these global bonds.
Global bonds. Wait, that sounds really fancy.
Okay, so imagine it this way. Muthoot is basically asking big international players for a loan to help them grow.
Okay, I see.
And the fact that they got 400 million US dollars,
Wow.
it really shows that the world sees them as a good bet.
Yeah.
But how sustainable is all of this?
Right.
That's what we'll have to dig into next time.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Stay tuned.
All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back for round 2 on this Muthoot deep dive. We've seen their impressive growth. They're branching out, making all these moves. But now it's time to get our hands dirty and really dig into the financials.
Let's do it.
All right, are they as solid as they're making it seem?
Well, let's, put on our financial detective hats.
Okay, I'm ready.
Remember those loan asset under management numbers we were talking about?
Uh-huh. The AUM, yeah?
Yeah, the group had 34% growth year over year. That sounds amazing, right?
Yeah, it does.
But it's not the whole story.
Okay, I knew there had to be a catch.
There's always a catch.
What are we missing?
Their credit losses have actually jumped by 195%.
Whoa, 195%. That's huge.
Yeah, that means more of the money they're lending out isn't coming back.
Well, that's a big red flag.
It is a red flag. Should we be hitting the panic button?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Part of it, is likely due to their rapid growth.
Okay.
When you're lending more, You naturally open yourself up to more potential losses.
Makes sense.
But it also kind of ties back to Bellstar Microfinance
Right.
and those challenges they've been having.
So Bellstar's kind of dragging down the whole group's credit scorecard. You could say that, but
Mhm.
overall, Muthoot still has a pretty low percentage of credit losses compared to their total loan assets. It's about 0.05%.
Okay.
So to kind of put that in perspective,
Yeah.
that means for every 100 rupees they lend out, only 5 pays isn't being repaid.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better.
So yeah, it suggests their risk management is still pretty solid.
So it's a mixed bag, but not a complete disaster.
Yeah.
What about the bottom line, though? Are they actually making money?
Oh, they're definitely making money.
Okay.
Their consolidated profit after tax shot up by 19% this year, hitting 3,908 crores.
Okay.
And standalone profit, which focuses just on Muthoot itself,
Right.
that jumped even higher by 23%.
All right. So we're talking serious profit numbers here.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But, seasoned investors don't just look at the profit, right?
Right, they want to see how efficiently
Yeah.
that money's
Yeah.
being made.
Right.
So they look at things like return on assets, which is essentially how much profit they're squeezing out of every rupee they have.
Okay.
And Muthoot's consistently over 5% there, which is pretty decent.
All right. So for every 100 rupees they have, they're making 5 rupees profit.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
But is that enough to keep investors happy and pouring money into Muthoot?
Well, it gets even better when you look at their return on equity.
Okay.
That's a measure of how well they're using shareholder investments to generate profit.
Right. Right.
Muthoot's sitting pretty at around 20%, which is fantastic.
Wow. Okay.
It means they're making their shareholders a very tidy return.
They are. All right. So financially speaking, it seems like Muthoot's doing pretty well. They're growing. They're profitable. They seem to be managing risk pretty well.
Yeah.
Even attracting those international investors with the global bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But is it all sunshine and rainbows?
While no investment is completely risk-free,
True.
the Indian economy, while it's currently strong, it can be unpredictable. And that microfinance sector, as we've discussed, is still a bit of a wild card.
Yeah.
Bellstar's performance could really make or break Muthoot's foray into that market.
True. And let's not forget about the competition.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the financial services sector is like a shark tank.
It is.
You got all these hungry players out there. You got traditional banks. You got those new age fintech startups,
Yeah.
all vying for the same customers.
Absolutely.
So Muthoot is going to have to keep innovating and evolving if they want to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, they can't just rely on that same old gold loan playbook forever.
No, they need to keep adding those new plays and adapting.
Right. It's a dynamic landscape.
It is. So what's the key takeaway here for our listeners? What should they be thinking about as they consider Muthoot?
Well, I think what's really fascinating about Muthoot is this juxtaposition of tradition and innovation.
Yeah.
They've built this billion-dollar empire on something that's so deeply rooted in Indian culture, those gold loans. But at the same time, they're not afraid to embrace the future. They're diversifying, going global, dabbling in the digital world.
So it's not just about, understanding the numbers, but it's about understanding the story that those numbers tell.
Yeah.
Muthoot's story is really a reflection of India's own, financial evolution.
Yeah.
It's a mix of old and new,
Mm-hmm.
of caution and ambition.
For sure.
It's a story that's still being written.
It is, and that's what makes it so compelling.
That's what makes it so interesting. All right. So we've dissected the financial reports. We've analyzed their growth and profitability. We've even pondered the bigger picture. But there's one last piece of this puzzle to explore Muthoot's future prospects. So join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll look ahead and try to decipher what the future holds for this very intriguing financial giant.
Yeah.
Okay, so final round of our Muthoot Finance deep dive. We've seen their impressive present, but now it's time to put on our futurist hats and try to figure out what the future holds for them. Are they going to keep riding this wave, or are there some hidden reefs they need to watch out for?
Right. Well, the press release gives us some clues.
Okay.
The CEO's talking about expanding that product portfolio and really getting those subsidiaries to contribute more. It sounds like they're aiming for some serious growth.
So we can expect even more of those new ventures, like those business loans, the home loans, even stuff outside of India.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're really trying to become more than just the gold loan guys.
Right.
It's a smart move, honestly.
Yeah.
Diversification, it makes them less vulnerable to things like, gold price swings or, hiccups in the Indian economy.
It's like spreading your eggs across multiple baskets.
Exactly.
You got it. don't put all your hopes in one market. But
Mhm.
are these new ventures actually showing promise? We know Bellstar's been struggling,
Right.
but what about those other subsidiaries?
Well, some of them are doing incredibly well.
Okay.
Muthoot Homefin,
Okay.
their housing arm. Prime example, profits have doubled. They're really riding that wave of India's booming housing market,
Hmm.
especially with all those young people needing homes.
Doubling profits, huh? That's got to have investors feeling pretty good.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But Bellstar, well, that's a different story. Do you see them turning things around, or are they going to become Muthoot's problem child?
Well, the microfinance sector in India, it's still kind of, in a state of flux,
Right.
but Bellstar's trying to adapt.
Okay.
They're focusing on getting those loans repaid and using technology to really, you know, improve their operations.
Yeah.
But it's a tough battle.
It's cautiously optimistic, but keeping a close eye on things.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Okay, and then there's that Sri Lankan subsidiary.
Oh, right. Asia Asset Finance.
Yeah, now they're a success story.
They are.
Strong growth, proving that Muthoot can expand beyond India.
Yeah, they're testing the waters in a new pond and finding plenty of fish to catch.
It seems like it, but all this growth, this diversification, it can't just happen, in a vacuum. What about those bigger forces at play? How's the Indian economy and those government policies going to impact Muthoot's future?
That's a great point. The CEO seems pretty optimistic. He's pointing to those government tax reforms
Mm-hmm.
and their efforts to, control spending, and those things, if they work as planned, should create a more stable economy and really encourage people to borrow and invest.
So basically, what's good for India is good for Muthoot.
Pretty much, yeah. A strong Indian economy means more people needing loans, whether
Mhm.
it's for a new home, a small business, or even just to get through a tough month.
Right.
And let's not forget, the government is really pushing for greater financial inclusion, especially in those rural areas.
Right.
And that plays right into Muthoot's strengths. They've already got this huge network of branches in those areas.
It's like they're perfectly positioned to benefit from this whole, financial inclusion wave.
Yeah, I'd so.
But it's not all smooth sailing, right? I mean, they're facing some serious rivals out there.
Oh, for sure.
You got those traditional banks, you got those flashy fintech startups.
Yeah, the competition is fierce.
It is so, Muthoot can't just rest on their laurels.
No, they got to keep innovating, keep offering attractive products, and keep building that customer trust.
So it's a mix of opportunity and challenge.
Always is.
Just like any good business story, I guess. But Muthoot's got a few things going for them. They got experience, they got that deep understanding of the Indian market, and they've shown that they're willing to adapt and evolve.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our Muthoot Finance deep dive.
It's been a journey.
It has. We've explored their past, dissected their present, and even tried to peek into their future. And we've seen how a company that's so deeply rooted in tradition can embrace change and navigate all the complexities of a rapidly evolving market.
It's been really interesting to see how, a company's story can offer valuable insights, not just about finance, but also about, the changing aspirations and economic realities of a place like India.
And that's what makes it so compelling. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Now, go forth and, analyze companies, understand their stories, and make smart decisions. Until next time, happy investing.